Hey guys, welcome, hope you're all good. Today I'm back with another Sims 4 speed build, and this time I'm actually re-uploading one of my old videos from my old YouTube channel. So I'm gonna probably do this with a few old videos that I've got, where I just replace the old voiceover with a new one, and you get to see one of my old speed builds. So I will talk about the build for a while, and then I'm gonna go off subject and talk about some random stuff. That's what I do on this channel. I like to do that. It keeps me sane when I'm doing these voiceovers. And to be honest with you, I do like doing this. I like doing the voiceovers. I like doing this kind of stuff now. On my old channel, I used to hate the voiceover part. I used to absolutely despise it because I wasn't able to be honest as I am now. I wasn't able to talk about the things that I wanted to talk about, but I can now. So, the build itself, as you can see in the title, it is a LA mansion, and I don't know why I actually called it a mansion, because when you see the finished thing, or if you've seen the thumbnail, then it isn't actually like a full-on mansion, I wouldn't say. It does have a basement that makes it bigger, but the bedroom size, I wouldn't really class it as a proper mansion. It doesn't have that many bedrooms. I think it has about 3, maybe less, I'm not sure, but I've ended up changing like the title for the video into just a mini mansion. So when you're actually looking at the title in the game though, it says LA Mansion, and I think when you go to download it on the gallery, it will also just be called LA Mansion. So just wanted to say I'd class it as like a mini mansion, to be honest with you. So I've actually done 2 versions of this on the gallery. I've done one that is kind of like a bungalow version, and I think I showed some screenshots later on of what that looks like. I think there is another version of this on the gallery. You'll have to have a look. But this one that you're looking at, I ended up adding a top floor to this. So yeah, if you have a look on my gallery, there should be 2 options. I should have checked before I actually did this video, but booting up The Sims 4 these days, it takes quite a while. I've noticed that, especially if you've got mods and CC, it takes around 5 minutes sometimes for me to even get into the game. It's so weird why it does this. I don't know if it's because of MCC Command Center, but I've noticed that I've got like certain mods in my game, and literally I've only got MC Command Center and some other stuff for like machinimas and things. That's all I've really got for mods, so I don't know why my game's taking too long to load, unless it's the custom content that I'm using. No idea, but yeah, I don't really want to go and check. But my gallery name is bsoul_homes. I'll leave all of that stuff linked in the description. If you want to go and download this build and pop it into your game, feel free to redecorate it any way that you like. This isn't actually how my decor style is these days. I would say that I have improved a little bit with my decorating. It's just this video, I think I recorded this way back when the Get Famous expansion pack came out. Yeah, it was, because I was doing an early access video for that when I used to be a game changer. So I remember I was only using like the base game and the Get Famous expansion pack, and I think a few other packs as well before, you know, all of the newer ones came out. So I guess it's kind of good for you guys that don't really have that many packs, and, you know, maybe you just have like the base game and you just have, you know, a few others that were from the early days. Maybe you just stopped buying them, I don't know, but maybe it's good for you guys. But yeah, feel free to decorate it the way that you like. Use any kind of custom content that you want. You know, once you get my builds, you can treat them as shells where you can just, you know, download them unfurnished and just make it your own. Like, that's what I recommend to a lot of you builders as well. Like, challenge yourself when you get people's builds into your game. That's if you want to do that. You don't have to. Just make it your own, make it unique, add roofing to it if you want to. Like, do whatever you like with my builds, and feel free to share them as well. If you ever want to tag me on social media, I've got all of my links in the description. Just feel free to tag me. I love all of that stuff, to be honest with you. I don't know if you guys can tell, I've just woken up. My voice is a little bit croaky, and I just want to say that my voice sometimes gets a bit croaky in my videos. I probably might mention this a few times in my videos. It's just, I don't know why it does it. I have to have a drink of water every 2 minutes. It's really strange, but if my voice starts to sound a little bit strange to you, it's just because it's croaky. But yeah, when it comes to the build itself, I will just say that it hasn't got that many bedrooms like I've mentioned, and it has a whole basement area, which I actually really like. I love how the basement turned out. It's got a home theater area, it's got its own office, it's got like a big living room and a bar. It's got everything that you pretty much need. I think I've added like a laundry area as well. I don't know if that pack came out yet though, so I don't know if I did actually add that. You'll see throughout the video, you'll see. And I'm not really good at talking throughout the whole video about the build itself. I'm not one of those Simsy YouTubers, so don't be expecting that from me. I'm gonna go off topic. I don't really know what else to talk about with this build. I'll just say my favorite parts. Like I said, the basement, but also the exterior, like the landscaping that I did, especially at the back. I love how that turned out. I always like my landscaping though. Like that's, I'd say that that's my strong point when it comes to building. You'll have to let me know what you think, but I know that on my old channel, a lot of people used to comment and say that they really love my landscaping, and I've definitely improved with that. So I definitely love how the back garden turned out. I did like an infinity pool. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the build. Now though, I'm going to go off topic, talk about some random things. I'm not talking about conspiracies in this one, I don't think. If I do end up speaking about it, I will let you know later on. You know, if you've watched my channel by now, you'll know that I like to add commentary where I talk about conspiracies. Not everyone's going to be interested in that, but you can always mute me when we get to this point if you really don't care about personal things or my own opinions on things. Sometimes I can talk about like my own situations, like relationships, which I might talk about in this one. I just want people to know that I'm not a narcissist or anything, because I know that when you talk about yourself in videos, people have the wrong assumption, thinking, oh, you just love yourself or you want to talk about yourself and that's all. And that's not the case at all. It's just I have opinions that I just like to talk about, and when I'm doing these kind of voiceovers, try to build up my channel again, I don't really like talking about the build like I've mentioned, so I like to just talk about things that I'm interested in. You know, sometimes it might be about my personal life, things that you can relate to, conspiracies, things that are going on in the world today, without getting too deep. So I hope that you don't mind with that, but yeah, I'm also going to try my hardest and not swear as much. I've been doing that. I did a voiceover for this one before. I noticed that I sweared quite a lot in my original voiceover, so I'm not going to do that in this one. I'm going to try my hardest, because it sounds a bit vulgar sometimes when you're just swearing non-stop. You know, it makes me sound like I'm a bit of a twat. Here I go swearing again. But anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships. I'm not going to bore you guys too much with everything, but I did this in my original voiceover, so I might as well do it in this one. But I want to talk about like gay worlds, what it's like being gay, and what it's been like finding relationships, dating, and just like the gay life in general. So I want to touch on Pride a little bit as well, because I notice that people are trying to like make Pride out to be some really glorious, family-friendly event, which when I've been to Pride, it's definitely not the case. So I kind of just want to talk about it. I wouldn't say educate people, but there's a lot of allies out there that have like the wrong assumption because of how much Pride is promoted these days. Now, I'm not against Pride, I'll make that clear, but I've been to Pride, and the things that I experienced weren't very family friendly, weren't very PG, and it just, yeah, I don't think it's to be as glamorized as it is. It's a fun event. I wouldn't say that it's a miserable event that you're going to have the worst experience of your entire life, but I personally didn't enjoy it. So I might as well talk about that first off. So when I first came out, I was 18 years old. I wasn't fully out as gay at that time. I was bisexual. And I remember going to a Pride event with this guy that I was seeing at the time. So I had literally just turned 18. I think it was a few months gone that I just turned 18. And I went to this Pride event because I'd been to gay bars and stuff, and I really enjoyed them. And I still do enjoy gay bars sometimes. Like, I'm not a big party person anymore. I don't really drink. I don't really party, like I've mentioned. So going to a gay bar today, I don't know if I'd enjoy it the same way that I used to when I was younger, because I used to be very much into the party lifestyle. having a lot of fun, you know, going out quite often. But now I'm a little bit boring, I won't lie. And I like it. I like the boring life now. I like just making videos, being creative. I like all of this stuff now. I'm not really interested in partying. But yeah, we aren't boring you guys too much with that. And I remember I went to Pride. I was 18 and I wanted to check it out because I really enjoyed the gay bars. I never enjoyed the music as much, but I just wanted to see what it was like, experience it. So I didn't go with a mindset of meeting anybody. A lot of people go to Pride these days to hook up. I didn't have that mindset. I was seeing somebody and I very much fancied him and I just wanted to experience it pretty much. So we went to Pride and I remember as soon as I got there, it was packed. It was very over the top. I noticed that. Like, I never knew anything about Pride. I didn't know what people dressed like. I didn't know what the music was going to be like. I didn't know how busy it would be. I was told it was going to be busy, but yeah, as soon as I got there were so many men that were like half naked, and that was a shock to me. I'd never seen that before. This was in daylight, and we were all just in like the gay area at first. With this Pride event, they actually go marching through the street, which I didn't stay around long enough to actually do that. But I got there just before they started to do that, and it was all just in the gay area. So I remember getting there, and we were going to get a drink, and I remember it took way too long to get a drink. I think we were waiting like 40 minutes, maybe an hour, to just go and get one drink, and we just got there. So I remember thinking, if this is what it's going to be like all night just to get a drink, I'm going to be very sober. And if I'm sober with this many people around me, I don't know how I'm going to cope. There were too many people. And I've always suffered kind of with like big, busy areas. Even when I was 18 years old, I've always had anxiety over that stuff. I've never really enjoyed being in really busy places. And Pride was definitely way too much for me. So I remember thinking, well, what are we going to do for a drink all night? And I noticed straight away, like, the music was way too much. The music was too loud. Like, normally when you go to a gay bar, it's loud, but you can handle it. My eardrums could handle that. But when I went to Pride, it was way too loud. So yeah, that kind of put me off, was the music. But the thing that really put me off Pride was when I was walking to get a drink with the guy that I was seeing. And these two men, I remember these men, they were both very older than me, like in their 50s or something. Now, I've always kind of been attracted to an older man. I won't lie to you. I'll get into this later on, but I've always kind of been attracted to an older man. But these guys were definitely not it to look at. Like, they'd let themselves go. They were older men, and they were wearing, one of them, not both of them. I can't remember what the other guy was wearing, but he wasn't exactly covered up as much as well. They were both wearing leather gear, let's say that. But the guy that I'm talking about, he had like these leather chaps on. You know what I'm talking about, where your ass is hanging out, and he had a hairy ass. Not that it'd matter even if it was smooth. Like, I just noticed that he was a very hairy guy, and he was a lot older. And I just remember seeing these two men, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Sorry for my language, but I was like, what is this? I tried to walk away from them, and I had to walk through them because they were right there. And I remember straight away they were looking at me, and I literally just turned 18. I was looking very young as well, with the guy that I was seeing. Now, this guy that I was seeing he wasn't around the same age as me. He was quite older as well, but I think he was in his late 20s at that time. I do believe he might have been in his 30s. Still, it doesn't, I've got a certain opinion about men that are way older going with 18-year-olds, but back then I didn't think about this kind of thing. I was always into an older man, and I still am into like an older man to a certain extent, but back then didn't really think too much into it, didn't think about the age gap, the age difference. I just really didn't care that much. It's just when I saw these two men, wasn't attracted to them at all. It doesn't matter even if I was, but when I was walking past them or walking through them, like, they were to my left hand side, so I had to like squeeze through them. And I remember the one that I'm talking about wearing the leather chaps, he grabbed my ass. And it shocked me, to be honest with you. I was like, what the heck is that? I turned around, it was clearly him. He was staring at me. There was nobody else that could have done that. And I kicked off, like I was almost going to fight the guy because I've never experienced that. I was like, what are you doing, mate? You can't just grab somebody's ass thinking that, it's totally okay. And I remember saying to him, don't ever do that again, you dirty old B word. Try my hardest not to swear, but I remember just telling him off, kinda. I was honestly about to punch the guy, but I knew that that would have been a bad idea. Pride punching somebody. But yeah, it definitely peed me off. So I remember that happening, creeped me out. I was thinking, you are way too old. He was like in his late 50s, I'll say that. He was definitely an older guy, like honestly. His body and his face, you could just tell how old he was. And it just creeped me out. I was like, I was 18 and he's like in his 60s or late 50s or whatever. Just certain things that you don't do. So that creeped me out and I didn't want to go back, to be honest with you. I remember telling the guy that I was seeing and he was going to have a problem with the guy. But I don't remember what happened with that situation. I know that he didn't go and say anything to him, but I just remember being there for quite a while and they were staring at me. They wouldn't stop staring at me. Even though I'd, yelled at him and stuff not to do that again, he still wouldn't drop it. I remember going to the toilet and he was there as well, the same guy, and being creepy around me. As if I'm going to sleep with him in the toilets or, get with him or whatever. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I've just told you off. Clearly I'm not interested, but you're still walking around here trying to prey on me. It's so weird. And I can't imagine much has changed. I can't imagine Pride has really changed much since then. Now, I'll talk about the dress code for a little bit. When I was there, literally a lot of guys were wearing the same kind of outfits. I don't know if anybody else was showing their ass. I do believe that them two were the ones that really caught my eye. But I just remember just seeing a lot of people half naked in the daylight during the day where there's kids walking around. And can you imagine if that guy, those two guys, wearing those bondage gears, leather outfits and stuff, walking around like that? I find it a bit creepy, to be honest with you. I don't agree with that. I've never really agreed with that. And I've noticed that when I've gone walking past Pride again, because I'll just finish it off. I ended up leaving after a while. I couldn't stand it with the music. I wasn't drunk. Couldn't get to the bar often. I just really didn't enjoy the experience. I hated the music, and those two guys creeped me out. It just didn't feel right to me. And the guy that I was seeing as well, he kept on checking out these other lads that were around. They were very young as well. So it put me off. I didn't like it. When you have an intuitive feeling that the guy that you're with is kind of eye fucking a lot of people that are around you. I had that feeling and I kept on seeing him doing it. And it turned out to be right anyway, because the day after I didn't hear anything back from him. So clearly he'd slept with somebody in that night, but that's all in the past. I'm just saying, gays these days, even back then, they just think with their dick. But I remember walking past the Manchester Pride as well. I wanted to just have a nosy and see what it was like again. Me just being a curious soul, I've always wanted to just see it for myself. But I remember years later, for the Pride event again, it's the same kind of situation. I think this was in 2021 actually. This was after COVID. I remember they were all in this sheep pen, and I was laughing in my head because I was thinking they're all trying to social distance at Pride. They're all strangers and nobody's wearing a mask. It's so comical at this point, so comical. It was either 2021 or 2022, I can't remember, but it was definitely around COVID time because they were all in this little sheep pen where there's loads of fences around them to keep them all locked into this little social distancing bubble, and it just made me absolutely hackle. And they were all kind of half naked there. A lot of them had the tops off and stuff, which is fair enough. I'm not going to be a total prude and say that you can't have your top off in public. I'm not going to be like that. But I can't imagine all of them were, not showing their ass. But I remember when I went through the Manchester Pride, that creeped me out. I didn't enjoy that. I didn't like that. I walked straight through. I was like, I'm not staying around for this. It's basically one big fetish event, I would say. Not everyone dresses like that. Not everyone goes to Pride for sex. Not everyone is going to be that way. It's just, they should have more of a strict dress code when you're in daylight. There's kids that can easily walk past. Especially if you're walking through the city, they should have more of a strict dress code when it comes to that. I do believe it shouldn't be allowed, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm just going to touch on the relationship side of thing now, since I've got Pride out of the way. Won't keep you long, but basically, in the gay world, a lot of it is about sex. A lot of it is about having a hot body, showing your ass and your dick before you actually meet the guy. A lot of it is like that. I've experienced that so many times. And I know that it's probably like that in the straight world as well. I'm sure, well, I know for a fact my straight friends have told me what men are like. They sometimes ask to see their bodies before they actually meet them and stuff. But I think it's more common in the gay world. I'll be honest with you, like it's more promiscuous in the gay world. And you know, I've been a bit of a hoe in my younger years, I won't lie. I was definitely a hoe in my early 20s, and I calmed it down when I got into my late 20s just because it didn't interest me anymore. I wanted a connection with somebody, and I didn't find hookups interesting after a certain point. You know, you get to that certain point. Some people do anyway. Some people never really grow out of that stage. You know, talking about the guys that, you know, I see at Pride, they're a lot older and they're just looking for sex. Hunting, preying younger lads. I find that seedy as fuck. And that's still very common in the gay world. It's still very common on Grindr. I know that once I hit 30 years old, the attention kind of dropped. The guys that I was interested in, because I've always been interested in older guys. I've never really been interested in guys my age. It's always been, you know, above, like late 20s, 30s, even pushing it to like 40-year-old. That's always been my type, and it still is, just because they're more mature, they've got more about them. I've always been interested in a guy that kind of questions life. He's had a lot of life experience. Even a guy that's had quite a lot of struggle in his life, I've always found that attractive, because, you know, I can't really relate to somebody that's had no struggle at all and they've been brought up by the mum and the dad. They've had a perfect life and everything's just gone well for them. They've got their own job, their own home, their own car. You know, like you see it on socials, and you see it especially on dating apps where they say they've got their own home, their own car, their own... It's like they're the same people. Not judging you if you are like that. I'm just saying I don't really relate to gays that are like that. I need somebody that's got something a bit about them and they're a bit different and they don't blend in with the crowd. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, but that's always been my type. And I noticed when I've been on like the dating apps, I've not really been able to find that. And, you know, a lot of the guys that I'm interested in, as soon as I hit 30, let me get back to the point. As soon as I hit 30 years old, the guys that I was really interested in, who seemed interested at that time, were no longer interested. Like, as soon as I hit the big 3-0, it's like, you know, they're only interested in the guys that are 18 up until 30. And that's... It is what it is. Everyone's got a type, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know about that one. Maybe it's strange to me because I'm into older guys and I'd never go for anybody that's really younger than me. Like 28 is the limit that I'd go. And every year that I actually get older, it changes. It always goes up. So when I become like 33, I'm only going to be interested in guys that are 29 plus. It's more like a maturity thing. That's what I need. I don't really relate to people that are too young, because I've experienced what it's been like going through those years, and I've had a lot to learn. Every time that I think I've figured out life, I've been totally wrong, and I've got more to learn about life. So yeah, that's kind of why I've wanted an older guy. But I think I started to ramble a little bit here and there. I hope that you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Because when it comes to trying to find a relationship, it's not being the easiest, I won't lie. Kind of giving up. I'm not really bothered about looking for a relationship anymore. I'm more focused on improving myself. But yeah, I've been talking for a while now, guys. I just wanted to touch on what it's been like being gay. I don't think I've touched on everything, so I'll save all of the other stuff for another video. I just want to say I'm not hating on anybody. You know, if you enjoy the whole life, if you enjoy Grindr, if you enjoy all of the things that come with a gay life. You know, gays are very known for like cruising. They're very known for just sex in general. It's very promiscuous. And if you guys enjoy that, I ain't hating on you. Each to their own. Me personally, it's just not for me anymore. I've grown out of that. I'm kind of interested in mahogany. Am I saying that right? Let me know in the comments. I think I'm saying it right. It's like a monogamous relationship. I don't think I'm saying that right. I don't know why it sounds so weird when I say it. You know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of just into a one-on-one relationship. No open relationships. No, you know, threesomes, groups. None of that shit. just having a good time and exploring places. That's kind of what I like. If I was ever going to date a guy again, that's what I'm interested in. Having a connection with somebody. But for right now, I'm not interested at all. Like, at all. But yeah, I just thought I'd talk about relationships for a little bit. I'm going to end it off now, though, and just say thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you do enjoy these voiceovers. I know I'm a little bit all over the place sometimes. You know, I might go off subject or I might stutter here and there. I will learn when it comes to the editing process of, like, cutting out certain parts, but I just want to be real on this channel. I don't want to add too much pressure. It's just a hobby for now. And then when it starts getting monetized, I'll start editing it down quite a lot more. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.